Two funk drunkles.
Two funked unk.
Hope everybody's doing good, having a good month. Just coming. We've been having a lot of fun doing the show, so we've kind of kept it going every week, and hope you guys enjoy it. That tune in and watch it. Trying to keep everything rolling.
Yeah, we're doing live here in the SC Prime Community Discord on the community stage. But you can also find us on the YouTube over there. Two Funcles. You can find us on Shardy B. Stevens got a SCP Funcles Tweeter.
Instagram, Tweeter page.
We have an Instagram page. What goes on there?
No, not yet. I did make a Facebook page though. That's right underneath you, and we haven't been too great about keeping up with the Facebook page just yet.
I would like to volunteer to not help with the Facebook page.
Fair enough. Morning, Andy.
I can do that. I can absolutely help with the not helping with the Facebook page. That's my specialty. So good morning, Stephen. It's the end of the month, right? The 29th today, which means everybody gets their incentive soon. But it also means I wanted to sneak this in because our friend, our community outreach extraordinaire, Bradford Sanderson, his name is Sanders, but his Twitter is Sander, which confused me.
It's a little confusing, yeah.
But he mentioned that today is the last day. Tomorrow's the last day to swap your rebates from SCP to SPFB.
Yep. So if you haven't done that yet, while you're in the Discord asking when incentives, you can also ask how rebate, and someone can line you out on doing that process.
How rebate.
How rebate.
Push smash button. So the thing that I don't know if everybody knows about this, I hope they know about this. If you were one of those people that over the past year you had some downtime and you missed a rebate with your SC Prime coins, I'm reading that you can swap your missed rebate for your full SPF, or is it only the fourth rebate? Because we're just
I think if you have the SCP to cover it, you can still you can still reclaim all of the SPF that you would have originally gotten.
You got to pay the amount. You can, but that's pretty
much.
Interesting. Or as my friend Andy would say, intéressant. Bonjour, Andy.
Yeah, good morning, everybody.
Good morning, everybody. So Stephen and I and our friend David, Liquid Bread, have been working hard again since for at least the last 20 minutes on this show.
Mm-hmm.
We really put together a whopper. Anything? What's in the news today, Shardy Stephen B?
Well, I guess over the last week, the happenings, at least in my realm, have been a lot of outreach, and more outreach. David, if you can pull up the screen share, we'll kind of show a little bit of what's been going on Twitter. There's a group of about 10 of us, I would say, where we've just really been hitting the streets. We've been, we all got together and kind of pre-made a bunch of tweets so that way we can keep a consistent feed going out to the public. Need to like that. Need to retweet that. Good job, Bull. It's just been really fun. We've gotten some good feedback, some questions from people outside of the community, which that's kind of the point of the whole thing is to get outside of the Discord echo chamber a little bit and get into that cloud storage space, get in with talk with some MSP types, talk with some crypto people, and kind of just spread word a little bit, which that has, like I said, it's bared some fruits. Brad's
doing great. That's what I was going to say. Twitter it is a very useful tool because it lets you get right up in someone's face.
Exactly.
It lets you go bing, bing, bing. Hey, you. Hey, president of multinational corporation.
Yeah. So this we actually
SEP.
got this post, this Anthony Spiteri. Um, yeah, he said the product looked interesting and said, hey, it would be great to have you guys on. He's got a little podcast set up, which I've got over here. Great things with great tech.
That's
Pretty
cool.
cool. Yeah, pretty cool content. Just technology based, real casual conversations. So I think maybe down the line we're going to figure out how to get that set up. Maybe get Ken or Henry or somebody over there to kind of talk about the product a little bit more.
And this guy is a VP at Veeam or something. But
He's let's see his official title: Modern Data Platforms, Future Tech. He's a CTO, whatever that means. Yeah, he's a technologist at Veeam, so he is associated with Veeam on.
lead cloud and service provider technologist. That means that dude has to pay attention.
Yeah,
And guess who got him to respond? Our friend Brad, who's been on Twitter for 2 weeks.
He's learning the ropes pretty quickly though. But yeah, and that's what's cool about the whole thing is that you really can drive attention, and you never know what kind of connections you're going to make unless you at least make the attempt. I think that's kind of the moral of the story behind it, is that like every single one of us are capable of getting these touches with people in these different industries. So I think we would definitely put up a call to arms to anybody listening we have a list going over an outreach of accounts to follow, so you can follow me, Jeff, Brad, Tommy, Mike. There's the main group that's out there that's doing the retweeting and the tweeting.
Right. We got Gordon. We got a whole list going on, and we've talked to some. We have a resident dark black hat marketing person on team, and I'm not going to mention his name because it's kind of secret. But he's been giving us some. We've been going over the fundamentals of what makes a good tweet, what makes a call to action, getting links in. Mike from Helium Street's been throwing up a whole bunch of things into ChatGPT. I personally have been going for my typical irreverent, goofy style because we got to know who we're going to talk to, who's going to read these, who's going to amplify these, who's going to make a laugh, who's going to make a joke. It doesn't have to be. They're not business calls always. They're attention calls. They're like,
exactly,
hey, notice us. And when the group of us follow the group of us, there's not very many situations where Henry or Ken aren't going to notice that the Veeam VP responds to somebody,
exactly.
They're in because it's all public. And when we tweet these things, we were talking about this. It's not an email to a person. You're talking to all of Twitter on purpose. You're talking out loud. You're talking out loud at somebody else. Like you get to say, "Hey, Elon Musk, you twat, why don't you do blah blah blah?" And you're not actually. The chance of him reading it is thin, but the chance of everybody else going, "Ha ha ha, yeah, you tell Elon," is a lot higher.
Exactly.
Or what an idiot. I mean, look at the top right there in trending. We got, Musk coin apparently is what's coming up next. So the other thing on Twitter, Stephen, if you can pull up was it the Exonet tweet this morning?
Yeah, I think this was this morning or from yesterday evening.
No, this morning. Look at 6 a.m.
Oh yeah.
Your time. Some exciting sort of leaks here. Sneak peek edition is what it says. If you read that, what we got shipping is the cloud, the Examiner licenses, and the extended warranty, which you're probably going to want if you're going to go long term with this. And then up next, Relayer multi-tenant. That's for partners, data centers. Relayer NAS. I mean, that reads to me like a Exa with a relayer in it, or a relayer with some hard drives in it.
Yeah. I think what to like kind of go through each of these. I think the relayer NAS is going to be kind of a plug and play relayer situation where you have something. Maybe it's like an Exa, maybe it's a smaller who knows what it is? Maybe it's a rack mount like we have here at the bottom, but yeah, basically plug it in, hook it to your Ethernet system, and you're good to upload data to the network is kind of how I read that. And then the relayer MT, so the multi-tenant, we saw with the last relayer upgrade, it got the IAM feature, which I haven't really played around with a whole lot. But the way I read this is that, an MSP has a relayer set up on their location, and then they can kind of control who has access to what files, what buckets. So you have multiple clients coming into one central relayer and this is just kind of my guess
Yeah,
on,
that's what I mean. Either
yeah,
either multiple seats or multiple tenants. Right. The
yeah,
IAM seems like you can run access control,
yeah,
whereas in the MT probably runs like multiple keys, different
yeah,
billing, right?
yeah, probably so.
And then
Eh,
Examiner Extreme, which we're kind of getting the glimpse that it's going to be a bunch of NVMe and really fast Ethernet probably, and just a real little beast, right?
yeah, I think, and it's going to be, I guess, we're going to have different priority clients once people start putting data on the net, which, I mean, they already are, but you're going to have people that are willing to spend $12.99 versus the 7 because maybe their data they need faster access, they need more access to it instead of archival.
Right.
I think that's kind of the direction that the Extreme is going. And then on top of that, I know it's been mentioned a couple times in conversation from Ken that the possibility, or not even just the possibility, cloud compute's on the horizon for development. So
Yeah.
if they build an Examiner that's got, maybe it's got 2 CPUs, it's got some extra cores, it's juiced up with RAM, it's NVMe, you can dedicate some of that to a cloud computing kind of situation and also share those resources with, with the network. So pretty cool stuff. And it says summer, that seems really, really ambitious, but that's exciting to see. That's awesome.
Yeah. I was thinking about the Examiner Extreme too, would be a really good sort of high performance device if you were running, like, if you were a client and you were running a relayer on premise, right? And you wanted to cut your costs and host some of your own stuff, that would be a really good place to put an Extreme if you were doing video or if you were doing like higher demand stuff. If you can remove, especially if you can remove too much of the network, right? If you can be on some kind of local area, and uh, getting response times are going to really pay off for that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, definitely.
Or
Definitely.
assumably, who knows? I'm just making shit up.
Yeah, we're just spitballing. This is all kind of just our thought process on what it looks like to us as community members. I mean, really, we don't have any more inside scoop than anybody else in this room. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy that this is there's already 4 product lines, and already ramping up to ship out a few more products is really awesome. And I did, again, this is more rumors. I did hear that the existing Examiners could also take part in the cloud compute aspect of the network too once that gets fired up. So, if you think about it, your Exa, yeah, it's a storage unit, but a lot of the CPU and a lot of the RAM and a lot of the spec kind of just sits and hangs out unless you're actively uploading or downloading.
Right.
And even then, I don't think that process in SPD is that demanding. So, um, maybe the Exa, maybe there's potential that you earn even more on top of just the archival storage aspect of it.
Wow, I can hear. I mean, I think I'm like about 30 miles from Lucio, but I can hear him his you know his
Getting,
excitement.
yeah, definitely. A lot of people there was a lot of wind compute there for a little while. I know a lot of people would be excited for that. All these guys with 800 CPUs sitting around in a rack.
Yeah.
Um,
He
but yeah, so that's the bulk of the news. And again, on the outreach side of things, we'd love for anybody who has a little free time to come check it out, see what we're doing. We can make the tweets for you, or you can just retweet, you can comment, you can share your opinions. But I think just trying to engage with people outside of the community is a really good thing. Mike from Helium Street, like I said, he's got another tweet out right now. He's been really killing it. So big thanks to Mike. And we actually we were going to bring him on the show again today, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, in a little bit here. I think I want to say one more thing about the Twitter. We posted in the outreach channel here a sort of list of the community that's involved in this, and that's not a final list. If you want to, we'll add you to the next one if you want to take part. A great thing is to follow everybody and turn the notifications on. You don't have to respond instantly. In fact, it's better if it gets drawn out. You don't have to go on Twitter and be there 24 hours a day. If you go in once every couple of days, once a week on a Saturday when you're watching the show, and just go down those notifications and go click, 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 and like, and retweet and comment. You don't have to do all three on all three, but like, when something's funny, say LOL. When something's great, say that looks amazing. Just engage, and engagement goes a long way because engagement spreads the word, and engagement makes other users see it. And you can retweet us. I'll like read the news in the morning and see a data center floods here, so and so and so, and then you can tweet that and say, hey, I'll try SCP Cloud instead. And
kind of riff off current events, riff off of news articles. If I follow some MSPs, and if they say something that's kind of relevant to our use case and the XNS product, shout it out. Like, I love seeing this right here, like on this tweet, 20 retweets, 35 likes, and then 1,800 impressions on one that SC Prime put out. I mean, I would love it if we got that kind of engagement on everything SC Prime XNS related. Really good. Yeah,
absolutely. So what's next on our morning walk here this morning? We're going to talk about the relayer, and I think we're going to bring up our friend Mike, right? Mike, Are you ready? David, everybody? We can get the three of us on the big, glowing, all-watching eye. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, good morning, guys. How's everybody doing this morning?
We're good, man. We're good.
No Bloody Marys for me, just coffee. What's up with you today?
So thanks for having me on. I think that we've been talking more and more about the relayer, and something that we've tossed around a little bit is just the idea of the creator that's out there, and there's a whole community of creators out there. That's a really big part of YouTube, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And we all have a problem, and that is data storage, and it's one of those things that we all struggle with. I do the Helium Street YouTube channel, but I also had a history of producing another YouTube channel, and so over that period of time, and that was probably about a 5-year period, I had accumulated and I brought up some props. I just had accumulated storage all over, and not very this is not efficient. Doing it. There we go. It's not an efficient method, and so now that I've learned more and more about how cloud storage works, and now all of a sudden I'm realizing, and through the help of everybody else in the community here, is that I've got kind of a solution sitting right in front of me. And this is a solution that could be of huge benefit to a lot of people like me. And there's a lot of us out there on YouTube making content daily, editing, shooting just huge files of raw video footage. And so that's what I wanted to come on today and say, hey, I've got a problem, guys. What kind of solution can we put in front of folks like me?
Right. So to that point, we've all been discussing that maybe a lot of people just are intimidated by the relayer still. And back to that last tweet, back to this morning's tweet about the relayer NAS device, that's a plug and play solution, I guess. That's what we assume.
Yeah.
And from that, that's a great solution to these people. It, of course, is going to cost money, right? And the relayer is free. The relayer, you've got to pay to use it. You don't have to pay. You probably already have a computer. And
Exactly.
if you're a home user, the thing that's cool about the relayer is, remember, you don't have to have it running 24/7. You don't need to worry about uptime in the same way you do with your nodes. So your relayer, you turn it on, you back it up. You could schedule it to turn on, back up every night, turn off. Like it goes as it goes. And if it crashes overnight or you shut the computer down, you're not backing up anyway. So,
Yeah.
And I think that just one other point on this is that there's other solutions out there for cloud storage, obviously, right?
Yeah.
But there aren't a lot of other solutions out there for cloud storage that pay you back. And could you speak to that a little bit also?
Well, that's the thing. All these Exa devices that everyone's bought, and all these licenses everyone's standing up, and all this, worrying about being uptime on Grafana, that's all waiting for data, right? And where does that data come from? From the relayers, and where does the money come from people paying to put on the relayers? So this is the argument. This is the flywheel that we talk about, that Ken talks about a lot. An individual user might have, like Stephen, what are your monthly costs right now for a couple terabytes? What are you paying? $10, $12?
Something like that. Yeah. I think I have about 2 terabytes uploaded to the network right now.
Yeah. So you're not going to see a ton of reflection on your X's from your 2 terabytes. Of course not.
No, but I do like to think sometimes when I upload files and I hear my X's start clicking a little bit.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely happened a couple times. Maybe it's happenstance, but yeah, I mean, it's an interesting point, Mike, that, I was thinking the exact same thing when you were saying, hey, I have a use case for this. And then I see your Exa miner sitting right behind you. And then I know that you're surrounded in a room of 14 other DIY units. Like you put data on the network, there's a strong possibility if you set your region that you're going to get a piece of your own data back, and that you're going to get, you're going to discount yourself on what your monthly expense is, which is
that's a huge point. And I think that's something that could be big likely will be big for creators like me.
Yeah.
And you're the consumer still, right? You're the consumer level. You're not the big business level, right? And this is the thing we talk about with the flywheel, with the MSPs, with the corporate America. If you're corporate America and you're going to store 100 terabytes a month or an exabyte, and right now you're paying someone for all that. The other option is to bring it back in house, and then you have to buy a bunch of racks, and you have to have a server room, and you have to have cooling, and you have to have a person that runs it, right?
If I'm gonna spend the money on something like this anyway,
right,
then I might as well spend the money on something that's going to pay me back, or be of a benefit to my other interests, which is to be a data storage provider. So,
right, and if you're corporate America, you might cut your price in half because you're paying yourself for half of it. Right. Which is, once you get that flywheel. And I think, in these future versions of the relayer, you're going to have more capability to pick your provider sets. And I know that it's there now, but, for Stephen, Mike, you guys can be putting your own X's on the receiving end. Mm-hmm. And since there's sharding and parity, you have this ability, if one goes down, it's still backed up somewhere else, kind of thing. Or it's not ideal, but if you had it all on one hard drive and the hard drive went down and it wasn't backed up, and you have nothing.
That's it.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think I saw with the way our erasure coding is set up, it's something like, I just saw this the other day, 40% of the network can go down, and you still have access to your data. You can't get that in a regular data center kind of situation. Not that kind of redundancy, not with those numbers, and not at our price point for sure.
And you're basically that small overhead of paying for this, which is like, it's cheaper than a lot of the other clouds, but then you're getting managed security too. You're getting like this network that runs it. You don't, if you're in the cloud, in theory, you can call somebody and say, hey, what's up with my what's up with my bucket? It's not working. If you have it on premise, you have to have someone that you hire to say, hey, down in the server room, what's up with my bucket? It's not working. But in this idea, you could have a stack of those X racks, or you could have a stack of X's in a broom closet, and you can assign them to your provider set, and it's being run remotely on the network by the company, by SCP.
Right.
So instead of having to maintain it or pay through the nose for it, you can kind of fit those two sides.
Right.
So all that said, I have got a relayer. We're going to build it live, and we're going to show how easy this all is and how quick this all is. Henry and the team have built some really great walkthroughs. David, can you punch up on the shared screen with me and Steven's? There we go.
Beautiful.
So just to make it awkward, it's backwards, but it doesn't really matter. In the web browser, there is the XNS documentation for how to install. As you can see on the left, there's Windows, Linux UI, and Linux command line. I'm going to do it in Linux in the UI today, because I want to show you what it looks like. What it looks like is fun and interesting. You'll quickly realize that you probably don't need it to be there, but maybe this first time it's a little more rewarding to do it. So in the other window is me connected through a Chrome shell to my computer that's in the same room. And I want to make sure it hasn't fallen asleep in all this talking. I just set it up today, and
you're good.
We're going to go live here. All right. So, oh, look at that. That's me facing my cutting board. Wow, way to go. Real efficient here. So,
hey, Jeff, can you sorry, are you able to zoom in on that shell window again? Henry, a little bit. Henry was saying in chat, it's a little, maybe control. Yeah.
How's that? Looks better?
Yeah, I can see that better.
All right. So
sweet.
If you look on Steven's here, we're going to have the prerequisites. The number one prerequisite is Docker. If you follow there, it's, your sudo apt docker install. I already have Docker running. I'm just going to run a Docker Compose version, which for me spits out 1.2.9.2, which is the recommended version. So if I go back, I'm basically running an Ubuntu in like a pretty bare, not much on it box here. I had a relayer running. I nuked it a couple weeks ago when we were talking about keys. And now we're going to build it. We're going to build it again.
So if you hit Docker PS right now, you don't have you have no containers, you don't have anything right now, correct?
Let's see. Docker
PS.
Yeah, dash PS. I can't remember.
No dash. Boom, boom.
Nothing.
Yep.
So
we're going fresh.
If you in the command here in the install, we need to make a relayer folder. So make directory relayer, and then I'm going to change into directory relayer. And so I'm going to make two files. The first one is Docker Compose YML, and this is basically the parameters. We're setting these parameters. It's going to build from this. So you're going to use Nano, which is like a text editor. When you enter into Nano, this is basically a blank text file. I'm just going to copy this thing straight as, because I'm going to be running it in the default. Comes right in there. Going to exit out of this. It wants me to modify it. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to write that, and now that's done. And then I need to make a second one. That's the env file. Nano env. And this just tells it what ports we're going to use. I'm going to exit that. Yes, save, write env, and that's that. So now I'm going to do a Docker force recreate. As I understand it, this is just telling that building it from scratch. It's right there in the thing. Hit a boom, and you're going to watch it. Oh, I guess it's pulled stuff before. I don't know. Did that work, Henry? Let's see. Let's see what happens.
So now if you do, it should show up now in Docker PS, I believe, if you run.
Yeah, we are being these idiots that do things live and don't try them first. But
right. Yeah, that's the fun part.
Yeah.
There it is.
There it is. Okay, so now I'm going to go to a new tab. I'm going to go to port 8888. You guys can see this okay?
Yeah,
Steven?
yeah, looks good.
All right.
Looks good.
Perfect. So here we are with our relayer dashboard. Like literally that took 60 seconds.
It's four copy and paste. I mean, the guys did such a good job on these guys. Like, I feel like they really don't get enough credit. I mean, they're very well laid out, really straightforward.
Right, and having Docker's a bit of an install, right? You got to put some things.
I'll say Docker was very frustrating for me on Windows when I was trying to do all this on Windows. I wouldn't recommend that, but like when I swapped over the machine that I was using for Relayer, when I swapped it over to Linux and did everything that route, I didn't have any issues with, sudo apt-get Docker compose. That's kind of all there is to it.
I'm sure that our friend Henry is banging his head in the chat right now because for some reason I pulled that latest code and it's showing me version 2.0. Listen, I know we're missing some things here. We don't have the IAM. This isn't the newest version, which is showing me something as to why that worked so easy. It didn't actually pull it, which is crazy because it wasn't there. Anyways, so let's not worry about that. Let's just go back to our friend the relayer here. Sorry, Henry.
We tried.
We got to. That's what we get for doing it live, right?
Well, it's probably. I wonder if it's just going back to your old version that you had installed, and then.
But I nuked the whole folder. That's the thing that I'm not quite sure about.
So do this. Try this real quick. We'll troubleshoot this live. Why not? We got Henry in chat. So do Docker -compose down.
Down. Oh yeah. Yep. There we go.
Okay. Then Docker -compose pool.
It's stopping it still here.
Okay.
All right. Docker -compose pool.
Yep. PULL.
Oh, I did poo. Does that work?
Jeff, you're gonna make me spit my drink. Then yelling at the screen like a sports fan. And then Docker.
Did you say pull?
PULL.
Yeah, I heard POOL.
Do not Docker in the pool, people. It's not safe. And then the last one's going to be Docker -compose up.
Yeah.
Oh, it's doing things. You already got it, huh?
Yeah.
Or no?
It's pulling it there.
It's pulling right now.
Something. It's circling.
It's always a good thing when something happens. I think.
Otherwise, it would have been done too fast, right?
Yeah.
And then what will we talk about? All right. So now I'm going to go back.
Wait, you got one more. Yeah, exactly. There you go. You got it.
Now, if you guys, that was fast too. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know.
Do Docker PS? What's Docker PS show? Docker.
I don't know.
So now it's there.
Hey, look at that. So, I mean, look, you got a fancy carpenter and a janky bartender that between the two of them can hack some commands
And a little hand holding sometimes, but
yeah, a
and
little
look
swim in the pool.
and look for people watching that or for Mike, if he wants to set this up, he's not going to have this problem because he doesn't have existing versions
Right, that
already
was just
running in
me being an
Docker.
idiot, obviously.
Yeah, I'll just be starting off fresh. It'll
Yeah.
be just a
Right, you get Docker going, you make a relayer folder, you do those two, the YML and the EMV, and you start it, and it's boom running. So at the top of the screen, we can see our configuration. Now we have our IAM that works in theory. Look, I can add a user. I'm going to add Chummo, and the secret key is going to be P00L. Oh, repeat since it's 8 characters. Pool. And now we can see on the side here. I have policy.
Yeah, now I have my own permissions to buckets. You can now assign buckets to me in the console,
exactly.
right?
Which is pretty active policy member of. And back to the dashboard here.
Yeah, show the access key and secret key, and let's kind of in the endpoint, right? So these are the endpoint is going to be kind of like your bread and butter of how you interact with the relayer through apps. So the endpoint, like when you set up, say you set up rclone or Mountain Duck, is like Mountain Duck's one of my favorites. I talk about it all the time. You would use that endpoint. It'll ask for an endpoint URL. That's what you use, and then you have an access key that you set in console.
Yep.
And then you have the secret key that you set. And basically, all of these S3 compatible apps, that's what they're going to ask for. They're going to ask for endpoint URL, they're going to ask for access key, and they're going to ask for secret key. And it's pretty universal, the way that what information these apps want. But yeah, as far as getting the relayer up and running, it's that simple.
And so if you go back to the dashboard here, you can see my endpoint URL currently. We did this last week. And we'll do this next week on the show. We'll set up a Cloudflare or get you connected to the outside world so you can connect to this anywhere. Right now, I'm just on a localhost. So in the middle here where it says endpoint URL, if I click on that, it's going to take me into a Minio window. It's going to warn me since it doesn't have the search set up. And I'm going to proceed into there. And it's going to take me into the Minio browser. So the default access key is 1, 2, 3. And the default secret key is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now this is real-time live relaying.
And so Minio, as I understand it, is kind of just the default gateway. Like it's sort of its own little app. It's an open source S3 app for the most part, and that's kind of what the team built into the stack. So like this is your out of the box access. Like you could easily set up the relayer just like this, have it running on your computer, and you can upload, download with just Minio. You don't have to go all crazy and do the Cloudflare tunneling and the certs and all that stuff. If you're just looking to back up some data on your personal system, you can do it just like this with Minio. I know there's quite a few people that do it that are, just storing personal data. But yeah, like Jeff's doing, you create a bucket. You want to kind of walk us through, Jeff?
Yeah, so I added a bucket here. I realized that I didn't make it in the relayer configuration, so I went into File Manager here at the top. And in that, you can create buckets. We can create Funcles. We can create Funcles 2, and on the left-hand side, you can see those. And this is where I'm going to imagine that when we use our IAM, we can mess with who can access what.
Right.
Again, doing it live, really stupid. But so back to the Minio browser, I've added Funcles. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to select some files. I've got some, like Mike was saying, I got a whole bunch of these MKV files. A lot of these are from doing podcasts, doing videos. I'm just going to grab a chunk, see if I can't break it. If you look at the bottom there, I'm zipping up. This is going from the computer that I'm on to the relayer, which is on the same network, 5 feet away. It's on a wired connection. It's zipping up. Now, if we go back to the relayer screen, to the dashboard, we can see in the middle here, the cache. It seems like we got some pending uploads.
Yep.
Bottom right here, you can see my network usage. This is real time.
Oh, that's
right?
new. That's a new feature.
Yeah, that's in the 2.1. That's
Okay,
so you
very
can see what you're pushing up and what you're pulling back down.
Mm-hmm.
Above that is the provider availability. That's who I'm pushing to. I didn't mess with it. I didn't change. You can go into the top provider details here, provider profiles. See, we got that. We can pick our countries. We can pick our regions. We can save multiples of these. It doesn't really make sense to save multiples for the regular user. Just use what's out there. But it does make sense if you are a, corporate America or corporate global, and you have to keep your data within a geographical region for legal reasons, or if you have targeted a set of your own network, or you want to target a performant set of hosts, right?
Right.
Well, this stuff needs to be fast. I'm going to put it on the fast ones and pay more. So back to the dashboard, you can see back to Minio, this thing's zipping up still, 370 megabytes of uploaded from my computer to the relayer cache, not to the network.
Yeah. So it sits in the relayer cache, as I understand it, until the cache fills. Then it starts uploading the cache to the network on a first in, first out basis. So whatever you set your cache to, which you can, ideally your cache would be like the largest file that you plan to upload.
Yeah.
Like I have mine set to 100 gigs. I very rarely upload 100 gigabyte files, but you can kind of set it depending on your use case.
Right.
And
Like
so
I just threw a bunch at it there all at once just to see if we could break it. Because sometimes, but look at it. If you're going to Minio, everything's
There it
sitting
is.
there, right?
Yep.
Go back in the relayer. So it was hitting 900 and something megabits for a second there on the upload.
Don't brag, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I Photoshop the details here on the bottom left aren't real. This is a 25-year-old iMac.
I'm more just jealous of your New York fiber internet that you got over there. I know you've got 1,000 and 1,000.
It's the FiOS. Yeah, but now, I mean, so now what's going on is it's doing a little bit of sharding. It's creating the files, it's setting up the network, and it's just going to drip it out now. It doesn't, you can tune this based on how much RAM, how many cores, what your network connection is. There's going to be a sweet spot between those things,
right?
Because you don't need to crush with your RAM if you're on a slow upload, and you don't need a fast upload if you don't have enough cores to do anything with it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I just want to interject something real quick. I didn't want to interrupt you earlier, but this went incredibly fast. I never realized setting up a relayer was so, I'm going to call it easy, but we had a little hiccup in the beginning, but a fresh install, setting up a relayer would have taken maybe, I don't know, was that like 15 minutes or 20 minutes?
If that, and that's, I think that might be kind of a general consensus around the community, is that the relayer is this mythical beast that's, complicated and complex and a little bit more difficult to get up and rolling. But end of the day, it's a pretty
Yeah, I'm really surprised and pleased with that. And you're already uploading data.
Yeah.
That's the amazing part of this, is that you've already started.
So
Yeah,
there's one small step before this in which you have to go into the console at the exapro.net and you have to create keys, and that takes seconds once you've uploaded a credit card.
Gotcha.
So there's
right.
15,
So you got to create your account first.
Yeah. But
exactly.
I mean, like, I didn't show that because I'm like, we don't need to. That's make an account.
Basic.
That's it. This is the relayer.
Yeah.
It's
So for the viewer, you're gonna want to go there first. And what's that location? What's that link?
That'll be, I can pull it up right here. It's xns.tech is going to be.
console. You
Yeah,
got to
console.
log in, create an account.
Yeah. So you go up here to the sign in, sign up, and punch in your email address, punch in your whatever credentials you want to use, and then that'll take you to your main console page, which there's my address, of course. We'll blur that out in post.
Blur that out.
But this is how you
move, man.
Maybe somebody will send you something nice. Who knows? I don't know.
I haven't even gotten a pair of socks from you guys yet. As many times as I've shown my addresses, passwords, and credit card information, I'd say it's a pretty trustworthy bunch here.
We could be buying the socks from you with your own credit card.
But like Jeff's saying, that's kind of step one, is get your account established, plug in a credit card, make the key. And after that, that's the process that you saw today is really all it takes.
Right. And if you look at it right here, I'm just going to bang this up. These are, almost worked, almost didn't work. I don't know. So
once you're in the dashboard, then there's where you can define where you want your storage to go, picking your providers.
Exactly.
And a number of other options there to poke around.
When you go to this storage relayers, add relayer, that just takes you right into the how to add the relayer, right? Mm-hmm. That's the screen we were on in the beginning. You go keys, and then because you're logged into the console, it knows who you are and carries your information over with you. It's got at the top here, we have a relayer set up with minimum specs, right? 8 gig RAM on Linux, 16 on Windows. An SSD is really, it says it's required. I have an NVMe in this thing, in this computer. That's why it's pretty small, the amount of memory in this, but it's a Dell, it's a ZAC 7810. I think
T4 something.
T4 something. I don't know. Showed up on eBay. If anybody needs any help, Flux will give you some recommendations.
Well, Mike, I was talking to Mike. I guess it was last week. He was asking about hardware, and like they do make, if it's personal use case, they do make some NUCs. They're a little bit more expensive than like the B-Links or those little Linux ones that you use, Mike. But I think you can pick one up for in the $400 to $500 range. You can pick up a NUC with an NVMe and 16 to 32 gigs of RAM. And then you just have this little low energy device on your network, and that's running your relayer.
Maybe if you guys would be up for it, on your channel, is to maybe put some links to some of that hardware into the description section of the video. It might be helpful for the audience.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're going to keep going with this. Next week we'll figure out how to do some remote connections. Next week we'll get some certs set up. But as you can see, this thing is, if you look at my relayer now, pending uploads are 0. It shipped 1.57 gigabytes because it's putting duplicates there. Remember that, right?
Yeah. because of the redundancy.
Right. I, put 480 or whatever it said. Who knows? And then there it is. But that's what you're paying for, the redundancy, and that's how it works.
Yeah.
All right. What else we got on this thing? What else are we talking about today? That is.
I mean, I think that was the bulk of it. But yeah, I think I like the idea. I mean, a lot of this is impromptu, guys. I do like the idea of kind of making this into a series. So we got the relayer set up. It's on premise. It's at Jeff's house. It works. It's good to go.
Under the
next
couch.
week, yeah, under the couch, safe and sound. Next week we can set up. We'll do the certs. We'll figure out the certs. Maybe we'll do a Cloudflare tunnel, which will allow access from the outside world. So basically, Mike, like what you can do with it is the relayer sitting at Jeff's house right now. He can create a bucket on there that's dedicated to Mike. He can create one that's dedicated to Steve. And we can actually access that storage remotely from our home networks. So like you can install an application on one of your computers that backs up the data to Jeff's relayer and then to the SC Prime net. So there's a lot of different possibilities of how you can set it up. So I think it would be cool to dive into that. And then I think it would also be good. Maybe we can all set up some of those apps and we can all kind of independently hook up to this relayer and send some files over. I think that would be pretty cool.
Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate you kind of walking me through it and walking us through it. And, this creates another opportunity for creators like me to kind of, solve a big problem. So
yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Of course.
Yeah, Mike, thanks again for joining us.
Of course, anytime.
I just had a peek into the community stage chat and
what, Mac Minis with Xenon
oh,
processors?
just the whole thing. Just going live.
Any yeah, there were some good ones in there.
Whoa.
Any questions or comments or any additional anything from anybody in the audience? If
anyone's got anything they want to say, throw it in the text box. Can we take live people? I don't remember.
Yeah, we have it set up. We can take live calls and it grabs the audio.
Magic. I mean, we're yeah. Just Captain Picard face palming in the loop there. I gotta close that. I gotta close.
Yeah, a lot of those.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really enjoying all these Saturday morning chats. I hope that the rest of you out there, some new names in there. I don't know who. Not sure who Jimmy the Greek is, but thanks for coming.
Yeah, good to see. And JT, I like how that's spelled. JT.
Otherwise we're just gonna go about our Saturdays. It's pouring rain here in New York, and I'm very excited to go to work. That'll be fun. Or maybe I'll just go back to bed. One of the other.
I've got some couch naps planned for the weekend, personally. A few estimates to get done, and then couch naps. Once relayer's up, do I need to look at it? Nope. Henry, once it's up, the beauty of the relayer is once you get it configured and you get it set up the way you want it running, and you have some S3 apps plugged into it, you really don't even know that it's there. Like, we're showing off the UI, and it does have its own file manager and stuff built into it. But for the most part, once you have that endpoint created, you don't really need to see it that often. Which is also why they have the going back to the guides, the CLI version, the relayer core is just as practical as having the web UI. The web UI I feel like is a little more welcoming to folks that are setting up the relayer for the first time.
Especially if we're pushing adoption, that's something to look at, right? It looks great too, right? It looks like it matches across the channels with the Examiner, with the full license with the web wallet, and that really ties it all together.
Yeah, I agree. All right, everybody, let's go touch grass. Again, outreach. If anybody, wants to keep helping out with that, we appreciate it.
Yeah, follow us on Twitter and tell us we're idiots or whatever. Follow along and contribute, and subscribe to the YouTube, please, and subscribe to Mike's Helium Street, although you probably already do. And then that's it, I guess, right? See you in the Degens.
Yeah, sounds good. Later, everybody.
Later, Mike.
Bye.
Later, Steven.
Thanks, guys. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.